But here's another advantage to having the master key. You can open up this shortcut. Now, I just encourage you not to fight that last giant dude. He might not have looked giant, but he's a giant compared to me. Um, this guy's a lot more dangerous. I would highly encourage you to be like level 30 before fighting him, like level 30 minimum, because then you have a good feeling of the game and what's going on in it. However, because I'm a little bit more experienced, I am going to come down here. A trick that I like to do is I let him start to run up the stairwell, and then I jump down. He will sometimes fall down, other times he'll have to walk back down the stairwell to get to you. Now, this is the easier way, and unfortunately I feel bad because this is going to be really boring to watch. I think the dagger might. But also not encourage you to switch weapons mid-combat. That's me being cocky. But right now, alright, so we're doing 62. We're going to see if this does any more damage to him. I would not encourage anybody to ever fight him with less than a 100% block shield. He can one-shot you, even in like most decent types of armor. And same thing, when he two-hands his weapon, he gets a damage increase bonus as well. So that can be a terrifying thing. Because you can backstab him, that also means that you can parry him. I'm not a big fan of parrying him because, again, if you mess up one of those, you can cause him to... he can one-shot you. You know, if you mistime it even slightly, not a big fan of being one-shot in this game. Plus, I don't mind doing this. Another thing is, you'll get nervous there when he breaks your guard like that, because again, you'll be staggered. That was sloppy. You'll be staggered, so don't be scared. If you're depending on your rolls to save you, what I would encourage is make them count. Always time out your rolls so that it's not the last possible second, but as closely as you can get to waiting the last possible second to dodge. And as you can see there, you know, you can get some misdirection going on. Now, I heard from Vegeta 311, and I'm sorry to quote them so much, just, you know, one of my favorite games of all time is this game. Jeez. It's not a smart decision. He said there's a technique where you can just roll straight at him, and yeah, as you can see, he'll miss. I'm not a big fan of trying out certain strategies like that one. I find that dangerous. In terms of life, I don't know how much he has. He might only start off with, like, you know, 1,000 or some life. Because I am doing 62 damage. This is where you're going to want a thrusting weapon, such as the rapier is a marvelous weapon against him. The bandit dagger, I could enchant it with lightning resin, or the gold pine resin, and do some lightning damage to him. However, I don't feel like wasting that on him. There's other enemies that I'd rather use lightning resin on. And he's wearing heavy armor, so he's actually resistant to most damage types. You just have to peck away at him. The gold pine resin will make it a lot easier. However, if you don't time out when you use that gold pine resin, just like your heals in this game, you can put yourself into a much worse scenario than a good one. But there you can see a 100% block, and finally a death. Now, he's guaranteed his drop no matter what. So that's one of the other reasons that I don't mind coming down here and getting this Havel's Ring. Havel's Ring, what this is going to do is that we do have an equipment load. Earlier I mentioned that I'm getting heavier, so my rolling speed is slowed down. Quickly said, if the first number is less than half of your secondary number here, that will control your roll, and you'll have what's called a mid-roll. If it's over 50%, you'll have a heavy roll. If you get lower than 10%, you'll have a quick roll. So what this ring does is it's going to increase your maximum equipment load by 50% on the dot. No matter what your equipment load is, on the dot, it's going to increase it by 50%. So here now we're back to having a mid-roll. As you can see, it's a roll. It's not sluggish versus if I take this ring off and I did it the wrong way. Oh, I'm actually just below Bandit's Knife. So reinforced club because that's heavier. There you can see that we're starting to get a heavy roll. It's a very slow roll. It still counts as a roll, so you'll have an invincibility frame for that. And then once you hit the ground, invincibility frame is over. But now we get the the slow roll. Normally you can't open this up for a long time, and I was gonna go get a shield. The problem is if I get that shield, I have to disturb somebody, and I don't want to disturb him just yet because I would like to get his drops off of him. These crystal golems can be an okay thing to farm. As you can see, I'm only doing 20 damage to them right now. That was a little bit close. Something is attacking me off in the... Why is it attacking me from so far away? Maybe because I'm heavy and it's hearing me? Here you're saying if I two-hand a weapon, you actually get a 50% strength increase. So that is allowing me to wield this club. Now, these golems are actually magic resistant as well as a lot of the other damage types they're resistant to. However, to clubs, they are weak to strike damage. And there you can also see I'm staggering him from hitting him so many times. 3 times with that club. They're worth 200 souls apiece. They're very big, slow-moving enemies. They only have 1 AoE attack. As long as you don't get hit by their very slow-moving attacks, you'll be fine. Another interesting little area if you want somewhere to farm. I'm not big of farming in this area, because as I said, something was shooting at me, which I will be showing off later. And I don't want that. But we're going to continue back on the main path, because, again, I don't have enough humanity that I want to potentially get an item. I'm probably going to wait till like 7 or 8 before I go get something. Although there's an amazing shield down in that area. Extremely easy to get to. Only one thing guarding it. And as long as you have a 100% block shield as it is, you can easily get by him, grab the treasure, and just get out of there. He'll probably chase you for a bit, but he does have a restriction on him. He does have a limitation. Last but not least for this area, before we get to the boss, is that there is a crystal gecko or lizard, whatever you want to call this thing. And unfortunately, he actually only gave me 2 Twinkling Titanite. Better than nothing. I'm happy to have it, but not as happy as I could be. But I'm trying to roll him over. Roll over. There you can see. Big gem on his back. That'll glisten in the light. That's really the only way to find them. And they will just vanish. They turn themselves invisible, and then you can never hit them again when they become fully invisible. So, always a good thing to look out for them. And they drop you upgrade stones, which I will explain in the next episode. So, thank you all for watching, and ta-ta.